did a majority in the
I've already
city.
let you ask, I'm gonna let the
I'm
sweet
sorry.
lady here in the pink ask.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have 2 or 3 things to say, and I don't want to have to get up again, so I thought I'd just go ahead and mention them now.
Sure.
Obama is doing so many things through executive power, all these things he's doing that he clearly does not have the power to do, that Congress is supposed to authorize, and yet he's doing them with impunity. And I'm wondering, why doesn't Congress do something about it and stop it or raise such a stink that he thinks twice? Because I mean, he just, all the time I'm reading where he's doing things. And the other thing is totally different. Monsanto has these GMOs, and we can't get our food labeled as to what has genetically modified organisms in it. And all our food just about has it, and we would like to have the choice of what we eat. And for some reason, they're able to stonewall, and we cannot get that passed to where they've got to label the food. And I feel that's very important. I know there's a movement trying to get Monsanto to do this, but they seem to be very, very powerful in Congress. And so those are my 2 things. Obama and his executive orders that nothing's being done, and the food labeling.
Okay. First of all, let me say about the Obama executive orders. We have not done all of them because there's been so many. But an executive order is instructions to a government agency. Okay? And so we have voted in the House on a couple of the executive orders to reverse. In other words, we've told the agency, you can't do that, and we would have put it in the law. The problem is, when you're going to put something into the law, the Senate has to pass it, and the President has to sign it. So, when even though we've passed those through the House, they hadn't gone anywhere. Now, we can continue to pass them. We can continue to beat our chests and tell everybody, what we've done in passing these things. It's not going to change this president. This president is ruling this country like a kingdom rather than a republic.
He's slicker than Slick Willie.
And, well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of differences. In fact, that, he is more manipulative, I think, than what President Clinton was. But, like I said before, this has been going on a long time. It's been going on a long time. And so the executive orders and the czars and the other things, I think is what the American people are waking up to, going, we're not going to do that. And so you look at cap and trade. Got a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, Democratic President. He couldn't get cap and trade passed. So what did he do? He gives an executive order to Lisa Jackson at the EPA to regulate the carbon emissions, and that's what she did. The DREAM Act, to allow young people that came into this country illegally, but they were 2, 3, 4, 5. They would join the military or go to college. They could be a citizen. They could become a citizen. The DREAM Act. Couldn't get it through his Democratic House or his Democratic Senate. And so what happened? He sends an executive order down to Napolitano and say, look, you need to make up a list of criteria of who we can deport. That's the way you rule a kingdom. If you go to, the National Labor Relations Board, and if you look at card check, the thing that would make it easier to unionize. Democratic House, Democratic Senate, couldn't get it passed. And so what did he do? He does a recess appointment, hires a labor lawyer to head up the National Labor Relations Board, and what's the first thing they do? They sue South Carolina for bullying. And because, I believe it's because it's a right to work state.
Yeah.
And the unions don't like it. So,
Well,
those executive orders, we can do everything we want to, but if we want to put it in put it in code and put it in the law, the Senate has to pass it, and the president has to sign it. And as far as the food labeling, I have not heard anything about the MSOs,
GMOs.
GMOs.
GMOs. You know.
It's poison in our food.
I have not, but we will look into that, and, you know, that is another regulation that we'll put on the books.
It would be
And,
nice to see your office come out with a position on genetically engineered and genetically modified.
And do you have any knowledge about EPA and Monsanto and the relation between those two?
Get rid of EPA.
That'd be a good place.
I'm sure that they know.
That'd be a good place to start.
It's my understanding that the man who used to be the head of Monsanto is now the head of the FDA.
Mm-hmm.
Big surprise.
Tom?
If you can talk briefly about your position on the Intelligence Committee and tie that into energy independence.
Yeah, you know, we had a public testimony, and I asked the Undersecretary of State, you know, if he felt like our national debt was more dangerous to us or our energy crisis. And he said, well, I think it's probably the national debt and then the energy. And so, you know, right now China is going around the world investing in other countries, and they're buying their precious metals and their oil rights, basically, and their energy. And, you know, you go down to some of the South American countries, you go to Vietnam, North Korea, even in Iraq. They're buying some precious metals, you know, now from Iraq. So their energy, and they're going to continue to get energy. They use 50% of the world's cement right now. They use about probably the same amount of coal. And so they have to grow their economy from an intelligence standpoint or security standpoint about 7 to 9% a year. Because if they don't, they can't keep everybody employed. And right now, they understand that they're facing an age crisis in their society, and the fact that they limited families to one child. And so now people are getting older, but right now, you know, you can ride through China and you'll see buildings built, nice new buildings, and there's no occupied whatsoever. But they were built, and so they're using a lot of energy. We're competing for that same energy because we refuse to use our own natural resources. And so we have started putting out a thing, you know, called Power America with Our Energy. And that's what we feel like we need to do. We've got more natural gas, and Saudi Arabia's got oil. We've got the largest coal deposit here that the next 5 countries have put together. We've got shale oil, and we've got Canada trying to sell us about 700,000 barrels of it. And so, you know, our energy is definitely a problem. And with the new regulations that are going on our power plants, I think probably by the year 2015, 2016, you're going to see some rolling brownouts and blackouts. And you add that to the uncertainty of the economy, and that'll be a big problem.
But if we run out of energy, we can't turn our computer on, the cyber bomb, huh?
Yeah.